Welcome to This Organized Life. If you're a mom, wife, or coffee lover seeking advice on how to reduce clutter and reclaim time, look no further than your host, Lori Palau, founder of Simply Be Organized and author of Hot Mess, a practical guide to getting organized. For a lot of people, clutter is their dirty little secret, but it doesn't have to be. Each week, we will share practical tips, chat with experts, and provide strategies on how to keep you organized. I hope that by sharing our stories, you feel a little less alone and more empowered to tackle the areas that are holding you back. So let's get started.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of This Organized Life. I'm your host, Lori Palau, and I'm super excited because we are back today with our Ask an Expert series. These are our listener questions, call-ins, and today we have a call-in or a write-in episode, rather. We have somebody that didn't want to be on camera, and we totally get it. I'm just so used to it. It's like not a big deal, but I totally understand that a lot of people are shy or private or embarrassed or whatever the reason, even though that there's absolutely no reason to. But we don't want that to stop you from being on our show or having your questions answered. So that is what we are here for. So we have a great question that I know a lot of people will struggle with, and we are going to get into that in just a minute. But before we do, I want to remind you that our enrollment is open for our cohort that is going to be starting in September. Now, this is a mentoring class. It's a small group of people that I am going to be walking through an 8-week training course, if you will, on how to start, run your own organizing business. We're going to cover everything from the tactical side of my methodology of organizing, if that's something that you need help with. But more importantly than the tactical side of organizing, is we're really going to focus in on the business side of things. What do I need to do in order to turn my passion into a profession or turn my hobby into a way for me to make money? Now, the ideal person, you're like wondering, is this something for me? So the ideal person for this is somebody that is in a period of transition. Maybe you are a mom and your kids are going off to school for the first time and you find yourself with, 15 hours a week where you're like, listen, I have a limited amount of time and I would love to be able to do something and be able to contribute to my household income. Or maybe you're somebody that is in a job right now and you're like, I'm not really fulfilled. It's a paycheck, but I'm not really fulfilled. And I would love to kind of dip my toe in this entrepreneurial space and see if this is something for me. And you're like, you know what? I want to do it. And my time is so valuable. I want to make sure that I, have all the tools at my disposal. And so I want to kind of figure out like what I need to know, because we don't know what we don't know. We're going to walk you through that. There's so many different ways. Maybe you've been out of the career field for a while and you're like, I just feel like insecure about my ability to go out there and sell my services. I know I'm good at organizing, I can do it, but the whole act of promoting myself and marketing my business and thinking of accounting and all of the other things is just completely overwhelming. I don't want that to stop you from following your passion or desire to help other people get organized. There are so many people that need good organizers, and I don't think there's enough good training on all of the nuts and bolts that go into running a business. And so this is 8 weeks. It's facilitated by me because it's so customized and hands-on. I limit this. It's a 10 up to 10 people max. So that is it. And we're doing a early bird special to just really incentivize you guys. There's a big savings. You're going to be saving $1,000. So normally this is $2,500. If you register before August 1st. And again, at the time of this recording, we still have spots available. I'm not even sure by the time this episode drops if we still are. But assuming that we do, if you register before August 1st, it's $1,500. And I'm telling you that you will make back this investment within the first few months. If you are following our principles and doing the things, you can definitely, this is for somebody that is like, I just need to get started. I want to have all my ducks in a row. And I need somebody to kind of walk me through how to make that happen. So that is what you're going to get. I'm going to drop the link below in the show notes so you have all the information. But if this is something that you are thinking about, you're not really sure, check that out. You can also hop on my calendar for a discovery call. I can answer any questions. I want people to go into this feeling really confident and know that they're going to get way more out of this than they are putting into it. So I'm excited for this, and I hope you guys are too. So looking for 10 brave souls to come work one-on-one with me. And it's going to be great. Okay. So now back to today's question. And I actually printed it out and wrote it down because this was a lovely caller or listener who wrote in, and I'm going to change her name again for anonymity because she was super private, did not want to come on. So we're going to call her June. And June wrote into me and said this: I have a 15-year-old daughter who possibly has autism and ADD. I'm having her evaluated soon. She's going to be going into high school next year. And now that she is older with homework, I'm wondering if you have any resources for time management. She doesn't realize how slow she is with everything: eating, getting ready, doing the laundry, homework. She's very smart, and her classes are only going to get harder. So I wanted to see if you have any resources or tips that can help her in the future. Thanks. This is like obviously hit real home to me because knowing that I have a daughter that's struggled with ADHD and um, I've been down that road where the pace picks up, the expectations from teachers pick up, and you want to empower your kids with as many tools in their toolbox so that they can um, be independent and really thriving in school. So obviously, I don't know her daughter, just other than what I just shared with you. But what the first thing I said is once she gets her evaluation, I know she said she's going to be having her evaluated. That's going to be really helpful because anytime you are dealing with a diagnosis, whether that's a diagnosis of ADHD or autism spectrum disorder or any other learning disability, it's really helpful to have those documents in place. That way you can as the parent, go to your school and get the appropriate either IEP, which is an individualized education plan, or a 504, which is also another accommodation used depending on kind of what your child's diagnosis is. You're going to have one of or both of those, but usually it's one or the other. So that'll be helpful on the school front. And the other thing is, there's other factors that play in outside of some of the tactics I'm about to share, which are like, what is the rest of the household like? Are you somebody that's very organized? Do you have kind of strict rules around, smartphone usage? Like, is she using it to get ready in the morning? I know in our case, that was a big issue with Logan is, she would take her phone while she's getting ready and then get like sucked into a video. And before you know it, she's running late for school. So just kind of looking at some of those external factors that could potentially be playing in and adding into that whole distraction factor. But one of the biggest things that, and again, I'm not a clinician, but one of the most common things that people with ADHD struggle with is time blindness. And we've done episodes and we've talked about that. But time blindness is the inability or this a struggle to gauge how long a particular thing takes. So part of the problem, even if you are a super smart person, because intelligence doesn't have anything to do with your ability if you have autism or ADHD, is you underestimate how long a particular task is going to take. And so what that is that will manifest in you being super slow at things like brushing your teeth or making the bed or getting dressed or doing your homework. And so how can you quantify time in a way that it resonates and makes sense to somebody who struggles with time. Like that's the question. So one strategy that I used with Logan, and I've used it with clients as well, is using time, using language surrounding time that she can put a picture to, that she can quantify. And so, what do I mean by that? So, instead of saying, okay, you need to be done in 5 minutes, because 5 minutes seems like very arbitrary, it doesn't really quantify the way it does for a neurotypical person. Um, I use phrases like, I need you to get ready, be done with brushing your teeth before this song ends, or in the time that it takes to watch this YouTube video, I need you to make sure that you fold your clothes. So she's able to have a picture in her mind of what that time limit looks like, because she knows those quantifiable starts and ends. Oh, the song is ending. I know that means I'm supposed to be done. Or that episode is ending. I know that has to be done. So those are some specific things where, again, you want the language, because 5 minutes just doesn't necessarily mean anything, or 10 minutes, or whatever that looks like. So sometimes these concrete examples help them relate better than words like you're too slow or you need to work faster, because those are just subjective and abstract. So think about that. Another thing that you can try, and you may have already be doing this, is checklists. I'm a big fan of checklists. And I think for her, it is giving her those, again, very specific, actionable things of these are the different tasks that you need to do in this particular time frame. And using some timers also is something that can either work really well or not work well. I've seen timers go one way or another. Sometimes using timers, sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. Using timers can add more anxiety for somebody that is already struggling with that time management piece. But oftentimes they can use that as motivation and incentive. So you have to kind of play around and look at it that you're not using it as a punishment or to weaponize, but more as a tool for you to be able to say, we want to give ourselves this amount of time to do it. And some of the things that I've done is be very specific with that time and say, we are going to be doing this for 20 minutes and we're going to get done whatever we can get done. And then we're moving on to something. So they might not complete that task, they might not finish the homework, but we're going to see how far they came in that amount of time. And I know it takes a lot more work, because you may have to come back to it. But if you have a very specific time, as opposed to just doing this until it's done, which can, again, just be so abstract, and there can be so many, leave room for so many distractions, that could be really hard. So if you can start to control the, that time block and say, we're going to spend 20 minutes doing this, 20 minutes doing something else. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Maybe we're going to come back to it. That's a way for you to be able to teach her how to gauge, like, how long she's supposed to spend on any given thing. And if it's going in excess of that, then we need to step away. It's the three things that I think are really, really important that you're going to want to continue to enforce. And I mean that in a healthy way, is routine, repetition, and consistency. So again, having ongoing things. And if she already struggles with potential autism spectrum, she's going to absolutely thrive probably with the routine, having that consistency, doing it over and over again, that repetition that just builds that muscle. And we're trying to teach those neuro pathways to work in a particular way that maybe isn't as, that maybe is a little counterintuitive. But if you're able to develop a routine, be consistent, do that repetition, and just do it ongoing over and over. We're doing this the same time every day, finding something that works. And if time doesn't work, try a different time. You'll notice that certain times she might be at her best, other times she might be a little bit more depleted. Know when to walk away. So I know I gave a lot of information there, but I think ultimately we want to be very specific with our language. We want to use, develop a routine, be consistent, be repetitive, and allow you to control how long you feel certain things should take. And if a task goes in excess of that, it's time to put a pause button in it and then reconvene it another time. And that will hopefully cut down on the frustration and anxiety from both parties. But again, you're doing great, mom. I said this to her when I wrote back to her. Um, give yourself grace, give your kids grace. This is a work in progress. And we know that nobody's broken. Their brains just work differently. And so strategies that work for you are probably not going to work for your child with ADHD or autism. But we just need to keep playing around with different scenarios until we find something that works. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for writing in on this really, really important question. We are going to be having some ADHD experts coming up. So make sure that you tune into that. And I'm also going to link up to the ADHD episodes that I did with Logan, my daughter, because if you're somebody that resonates with this question, there's some additional tools and strategies that we talked about in those episodes. So I will link to that as well. And if you have a question that you want to ask, please reach out to us. There's a questionnaire. It's just like a quick Google form right on our website. I'll drop the link below in the show notes and you can fill it out. And there's a question on there that says, would you like to be contacted to be a guest on the show? And you can say, yes, I'd love to, which is great because I love having conversations with people. But if you want to say nope, that's totally fine too. And I can ask your question on the air, change your name, do all the things. But again, we know that you are in an effort to live your best organized life. We want to be able to give you the tools and strategies to make that possible. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, I'm Lori Palau. Peace out.